I spoke with Andre Angelantoni, co-founder of Post-Carbon Marin and PostPeakLiving.com, organizations online devoted to helping people take steps towards survival in our post-oil future. We had a conversation at San Francisco's Luscious Garage, where hybrids and electric vehicles are serviced. I wanted to know, what are people talking about here in terms of peak oil? Are people talking about it? This is a very progressive part of the world. Mm-hmm. Do people want to get involved?
When you talk to them, they actually eventually get to the point, we knew this was going to happen.
Really?
Because a lot of those people grew up in the 70s and they were activists in the 70s, and oil was talked about as depleting back then.
Right.
And then everyone kind of had this collective amnesia.
Right.
And now here we are, 25 years, 30 years later, and
Scrambling. So what other kind of organizations exist in this area to help people motivate in order to start making changes in their behavior and how they commute?
I'm one of the co-founders to Post-Carbon Marin, and we're under the relocalization network.
Right.
We're lucky because we are in a progressive part of the world.
Yeah.
And the Board of Supervisors for the City of San Francisco, I think it was 2 years ago now, passed a resolution to start the San Francisco Peak Oil Task Force. And I think that made it the very first major city in all of the country to recognize it at that level. But that was driven through by a group of really committed people. I think the rest of the city is waking up, just like everyone else.
Right. Is there movements to be made, or are being made right now, in terms of like public transportation?
Compared to other cities, we're actually in a pretty good position in terms of public transit, and it's used heavily by the way. Now, in terms of the groups, there's where we are right now. We're at Luscious Garage, where we have the San Francisco Electric Vehicle Association meeting. So that's one group that's trying to get plug-in Priuses up there, and electric cars in general, and electric bicycles. Right, so they're not just about cars. Because electric bicycles in a city with lots of hills are great. And then there's a really strong contingent for just people getting out of the cars completely and getting onto bicycles. As oil gets more expensive, there are going to be less cars on the road. I'm of the opinion that the grid is going to soon become unreliable.
Right.
It's not going to run 24 hours.
Right. So how are we going to plug in our electric cars?
Well, I'm kind of a gear guy, a techno guy, so I like electric cars and I like hybrid cars, but I actually don't have much hope that there are going to be many of us that own them. Now, electric bikes we can do.
Yeah.
And then you might want some solar panels to plug in your electric bike.
What is your time frame for, our serious oil depletion?
It's a perfectly valid question. I think there's the beginning of the consensus that it's beginning now.
Okay.
Every $10 that oil increases in price per barrel takes $76 billion out of the economy. That's an enormous amount of money that would have gone to wages and products.
Other technologies.
Exactly. So the machine is starting to slow down because of this high oil price. So I think that we're going to have a real mess on our hands before 2010. And at the very latest, 2013, where if you look at the oil mega projects database on Wikipedia, you can see that there just aren't enough oil projects that are coming online. I encourage everyone to get yourself community sufficient.
Yes.
Self-sufficient, nothing wrong with it, but look from the perspective of how you, your family, and your community can support each other.
What do you think this is a good opportunity for?
Re-examining how we're living our lives. I mean, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that we all got caught up in the rat race. Maybe not all of us, but a lot of us did. And the earth took a beating. It really took a beating. And if it wasn't peak oil that was going to pop the bubble, we have any number of a dozen ecosystems that are ready to just completely collapse, whether it's fisheries or water or soil.
Yeah.
So, I mean, oil's getting the blame, but if it wasn't oil, it would have been something else. So, I think that people are going to get tighter, they're going to get to know their neighbors more, they're going to take care of each other's kids, but that's going to have to be created. And so one of the roles that I invite people to take is to be the person who creates that.
Right.
In their community.
Right. Don't wait for it to happen.
That's right.
Make it happen.
That's right. That's right. So that's the opportunity. And look, we're going to need each other because as the layoffs begin, we're going to have wave after wave after of layoff because that's already beginning. And how are we going to feed ourselves if we're not working collaboratively?
Right.
Right? How are we going to make sure that everyone has a roof over their heads if we're not working collaboratively? I think that people at their core really want to be in relationship with other people. And if you're the engine in your group of friends, well then that's your role. And that can actually be a really fulfilling role to be the person who gets people together.